Hello, dear viewers. Good afternoon and welcome to this presentation on the course GED 504 titled Introduction to Educational Administration and Planning. Our names are Efelasong Mary Amin and Zele Francina. We shall be presenting on Unit 15 titled Approaches to Educational Planning. Under this unit, we will talk about the social demand approach, we'll talk about the manpower requirement approach, and we'll talk about the cost-benefit approach. I'm going to talk about the social demand approach, its advantages, its criticisms, and how it has been applied in Cameroon, while my colleague Zele Francine will talk about the cost-benefit approach and the manpower requirement approach. Educational planning plays a vital role in shaping policies, managing resources, and achieving long-term goals in education. Planning is the process of setting goals, determining the actions needed to achieve those goals, and outlining the steps and resources required to carry out those actions effectively. For example, we have the event planning, educational planning, and financial planning. What do we mean by educational planning? This refers to different methods or strategies used to design, implement, and manage educational systems to meet specific goals. These approaches guide decision makers in aligning education with the national priorities such as economic growth, social development, labor market needs, and individual aspirations. We have objectives of this unit. Number 1, describe the 3 main approaches to educational planning. Number 2, we are going to state examples of how each of these approaches has been applied in our country, Cameroon. Number 3, we are going to discuss the major criticisms that is levied against these approaches. We have the first one, the social demand approach. This is an educational planning strategy that aims to provide education. It is a provision by the state of schools and related facilities for all pupils and students who are qualified for admission. These students should be given the opportunity to go to school. This approach is one of the basic ways of accomplishing Article 26 of the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights adopted in 1948. The article states that, number 1, everyone has a right to education. This shall be free at least in the elementary and primary stages. Number 2, elementary education shall be compulsory, while technical and professional education shall be made generally available. Number 3, higher education shall equally be accessible to all on basis of merit. However, free and compulsory education is still far-fetched in Cameroon, as Cameroon offers only free or only partial free education in public primary schools. A classic example of the social demand approach on higher education is the 1964 Robbins report on higher education in Great Britain. It stated that courses of higher education should be available for all those who are qualified by ability and attainment to pursue them and who wish to do so. The social demand approach to educational planning in Cameroon has been applied through the following ways. Number 1, expansion of educational access. Cameroon has focused on increasing enrollment in primary and secondary schools to meet growing demand of education from its population. Number 2, policies such as free primary education was introduced in the year 2000 to ensure that more children attend schools. Number 3, the government has also constructed schools, recruited more teachers that will teach in these created schools. Cameroon, at the university level, the government has also supported university education by giving a boost of 50,000 francs to merited students. Also, the government has bare hostesses which are being given out at very cheap rates to students. The government has also subsidized government secondary schools that make it affordable for all. Nevertheless, there are a number of criticisms of, of the social demand approach, which includes number one, it ignores the larger national problem of resource allocation. Political decisions are made to satisfy the demands of the general public in order to secure their position to power. Politicians often make choices or create policies that are popular with the people, not necessarily because they are the best, but to gain support or win votes so as to remain in office. Number two, it does not take into account the character and pattern of manpower needed by the economy. This approach focuses mainly on providing education based on public demand, without considering what type of skills, jobs, or profession the economy actually needs. In other words, it ignores whether the graduate produced will match the labor market needs. Number three, neglect of individual needs. Yes, it focuses on meeting societal demands rather than individual needs. Individual needs and aspirations. I beg your pardon. Number four, limited consideration of opportunity cost. Yes, it fails to consider the opportunity cost of investing in education, such as alternative uses of resources. Number five, insufficient attention to labor market dynamics. The social demand approach assumes that labor market demands will remain static, which may not always be the case. Number six, a potential for mismatch between education and employment. This is true. It may lead to a mismatch between the skill and knowledge acquired through education and the requirement of labor market. The social demand approach has a number of advantages, which include it promotes educational equity. That is, it ensures that everyone has access to education, regardless of their social or economic background. Number two, it helps reduce inequality by making education more available and inclusive. It also responds to public needs. That is, it plans on what the society wants, such as increased literacy, skilled citizens, or cultural preservation. It also encourages universal education. That is, it drives mass enrollment, especially at the basic level. Thank you for your kind attention. I'm going to hand over to my colleague who will continue with the other approaches to educational planning. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Konjume Francina, a final year student of the University of Buea under the Faculty of Education. I'm here to present the second part of this unit, which is titled Approaches to Educational Planning. I'll begin with the manpower requirement approach. This approach consists of analysis of skilled manpower requirements of the economic, and from which a calculation is made kinds and levels of education required to meet them. It deals with the future demand for educated manpower to be provided by the educational system. It is labor-oriented, and emphasis is placed on the educational output. This approach entails making projections and forecasts. I will define a forecast as an attempt to spell out the implications of target output figures when economic development is deliberately manipulated by the state, while a projection, on the other hand, is an attempt to foresee the conditions that result from the play of spontaneous economic forces. The general objectives of this approach is that one, to provide appropriate and adequate supply of human resources to meet the needs and to ensure development of the educational system. To quantify shortage and surpluses of human resources. And the last one is to utilize effectively and appropriately the human resources available. Next point we are going to see under this approach is how the government of Cameroon uses the approach. One, the government of Cameroon create training centers to train citizens. It also creates enterprises. The government of Cameroon also creates fishing farming, and it also recruits teachers based on the national needs. The next point we are going to discuss here is the criticisms of manpower requirement approach. It is highly criticized for its weakness of data, crude assumptions, and methodological inadequacy. The manpower method also focuses only on the quantity of manpower needed and not with the cost of producing it. It is also criticized for being observed to be in terms of highly leveled manpower, that is, concentrating on increasing the skilled manpower. Meanwhile, those who are doing the labor are unskilled and uneducated people who are producing the bulk of the gross national product of the country. It is also criticized for being narrow focus on vocational training at the expense of the general education. This can result in students who are highly skilled in specific technical areas but who lack a broader knowledge and critical thinking skills needed to adapt to the changing job market or to pursue careers in other fields. Another criticism is that manpower requirement approach can be overly focused on the need of industry rather than the needs of students. And this results in education systems that are highly influenced by the demand of employers rather than being driven by the interests and aspirations of the students themselves. It is also criticized for its potential to perpetuate social and economic inequalities. For example, if certain types of educations are seen more valuable than the others, it makes the situation to it makes the student look the situation, especially those from the disadvantaged background, as less likely to have access to education and training they need to succeed in the job market. The third approach we are going to look at is the cost benefit approach, which is also called the rate of return analysis, and it is a systematic comparison of the magnitude of cost and benefit of some form of investment in order to assess the economic profitability. There are three main methods used in the cost benefit approach. One of them is the benefit cost ratio method. The second one is the net discounted present value method. And the last method is the internal rate of return method. We are going to see how the government of Cameroon applies this method. One, the abolition of primary school fees. Here, the government abolished the payment of fees in the primary school, making a significant rise in enrollment in the year 2003. Two, it also prioritized education zones, that is, identifying zones where school attendance was low and gender